Alright, great start to the morning. Leopard in the tree right here. So this is the Plaque Rock female. Apparently she's been on a kill in a gardenia tree just behind us over here. There's a couple of hyenas skulking around at the moment trying to get some scraps. We were off in a different part of the reserve. I think other guys came to this kill and it was quite hard to see her when she was in the tree, so we didn't actually come here. But now we happen to be... Oh, there's a hyena. Wait, there he goes. We were driving past and she just happened to still be here, and what a magnificent view. So I think timing couldn't be better. If we'd come when she was on the kill in the tree, we wouldn't have seen much. Gardenia is a very densely branched and foliated tree. View would have been poor. This view, however, is pretty much unbeatable. She's about 6 meters away from us, lying on this fallen knobthorn. The hyenas are still skulking around, which I think is why she's reluctant to come down to the ground. It doesn't look like there's anything left of the kill, so chances are when she does decide to come down, which will probably be preempted by a bit of yawning. Oh, here we go. There we go. So I think she's going to move fairly soon, and I think she'll probably sniff around the tree for a bit and then head out because there's nothing more to eat here. Alright, well, -1 for powers of observation. The kill was there the whole time, didn't see it. Which just goes to show she chose a good tree. I'm going to battle for excuses here, missed it completely. I mean, there are a number of criteria leopards use. I don't want to say they tick off boxes, but there are a number of reasons a leopard would choose a specific tree. The main one, I think, would be cover. They want a tree with a lot of foliage so that the kill stays hidden and they stay hidden when they're up there feeding. Otherwise, another leopard walking by spot the kill and possibly come in and steal it. Lions as well. They want as little attention drawn to them as possible, so they choose trees with dense foliage. And at this time of year, when most of the trees don't have leaves, they're limited in their choices, which is why this gardenia is a great one. Hyenas came in and sniffed around a bit, and she decided to take it up a little bit higher. There's still a solid chunk remaining. I think it's the fact that she's a small female leopard. She's not eating as much in one sitting as a big male would, so the kill will last a little bit longer. She'll still be here tonight, maybe even tomorrow. There's a good bit of meat there. There are a couple of hyenas here. As soon as the leopard goes up into the tree to feed, the hyenas move in because they know that's when the leopard might drop the kill. So now we're going to wait. We're going to get her coming down. We weren't ready for her going up. We were parked off to the side and didn't expect her to go up because we didn't know the kill was there. But now it's going to be a patience game. We're going to find a shady spot and wait for her to come down. Okay, it's an hour later, no further developments. A couple of clouds have rolled in, and despite me saying the gardenia is not a very comfy tree to lie in, she's quite happily been lying in there for some time. She's clearly found a good branch. She doesn't look like she's going anywhere for now. Right, we're going to leave her be. Very little is happening. We've got 2 comatose hyenas and 1 comatose leopard. She's found a semi-comfy spot where she's wedged her bloated stomach between 2 branches and it's just hanging down without a lot of pressure on it, which would have been uncomfortable if she had lain on a branch. She has moved branches, I think that's why she did. She was probably quite uncomfortable there, and she's now kind of wedged herself in, supported but without direct pressure on her stomach, which is very full of impala. But she hasn't moved for well over an hour now, so I think we're going to leave her and maybe we'll try this afternoon. There's still quite a lot of meat there, so there's potential, but we'll see later. So we're starting this morning up on the Londolozi airstrip with a whole bunch of hyenas and the Tracker Academy. Well, there's a cool connection there that the symbol of the Tracker Academy is the hyena, because hyenas are essentially the best trackers in the world. Their sense of smell is absolutely unequaled, and their ability to follow a scent trail days after whatever left it has passed through, whether it's a leopard dragging a carcass or the smell of carrion on the air. It's surreal. That's why the hyena was chosen as the symbol of the Tracker Academy, because these are trackers in training. I mean, these guys represent the future of the industry. Very cool initiative going on here that's essentially preserving waning indigenous knowledge. We'll put a link down below, so swipe up if you want to find out more about the Tracker Academy. And a couple of giraffes moving around. We've heard lions roaring in the distance, but I don't think the lions are on Londolozi. They're practically in Kruger. They sound so far away. But let's stick around here. It's nice to be up on the airstrip first thing. You can get a good sense of what's happening just by hearing the vocalizations of various animals around the reserve. There's quite a lot going on in this giraffe sighting. There's a couple of dynamics at play. There are a few calves, and there are a couple of bulls with the cows. So one of the bulls in particular, he's showing a bit of amorous interest in one of the females. He's not going to come right there because she's got a young calf, and she's not going to come into estrus when she's still nursing that calf. Most of these calves are, well, in fact, I think it looks like all of them are at an age where they'll still be nursing, so still be slightly dependent on the female's milk. What was that, hyenas? Yeah. Stand by. Did you get him?
I think so, yeah. Got a few.
There was a minor distraction there. There's a big bull across the airstrip. Looks like he's going to join the rest of the herd. But animals crossing the airstrip is always a beautiful photo. You can get low, far enough away that you're not impacting them, when you get this wonderful kind of ground level shot of them crossing with an open sky behind. So Sean says he nailed the shot. Let's see the results right now. Here they are. So what were we saying? Yeah, some of these bulls are showing a bit of interest in the females, but I don't think anything is going to happen. The females aren't going to be ready to mate when they've got little calves. Probably the coolest thing about the sighting is this young hyena that's been prowling around. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. It's interesting to see the reaction of herbivores to predators, and the adult giraffe is completely unconcerned by the hyena. It was a very young hyena, and it's absolutely no threat to them. I mean, one kick and then send them into the stratosphere. So, yeah, they're not worried, and the calves are a little bit more curious about him than anything else. So it's an amazing opportunity to see them almost side by side. It's a wonderful start, just seeing so much giraffe activity, and especially in an open area like this. There's one particular that I don't think he thought he was tall enough, so he went and stood on a termite mountain to get a bit of extra height. And this is within a minute of camp. You'll probably see the roofs of camp in the background. Oh, great way to start the morning. Before coming home, we thought we'd try find a leopard that we know is here. We've got so many alarm calls going on. We've got monkeys calling, squirrels calling. This hardy-dar has almost certainly seen the leopard. It's a type of ibis, and it was giving the alarm now. And it's thick here, so that this leopard can't be far. Probably the Mashaba female or the Senegal bushmale, just judging by where we are territory-wise. We don't have any tracks to say this is where it is. It's probably within 100 meters of us. Yeesh. Where do we look? I think we go that way. Yeah, this leopard's here. We can't find it. We're going to head back to camp. I think this leopard wants to be found. A what you see is often not as important as how you see it. Well, we've just had an amazing long distance view of what looked like a male leopard crossing this big open clearing. He's disappeared into the thicket. He looked a bit nervous. Judging by where we are, I'm guessing it's the Maxim's male. He's a little bit skittish, so we're just prowling the thickets now, seeing if we can see him again. We don't expect to get a great view. If we do, doesn't like being seen by the Land Rovers. He came in from the Kruger Park, we think, where he would have grown up not being used to vehicles. So let's see if we can get him again. Hopes aren't high, but it's fine. We had an amazing, albeit brief, view. One of the signs that the season's changing is a lot of the birds start going into their courtship rituals. We've come across a pair of southern yellow-billed hornbills that are going into theirs. It's a wonderful sight. Sometimes the pair will display together and they raise their wings up above their back and make their call. In this case, it looks like the male is what's known as courtship feeding the female. He'll present her with food items. He'll do this for up to a month before they actually lay eggs. And they breed in the summer. It's an amazing breeding strategy in which the female seals herself into a hole in the tree with mud and fecal matter, and she stays in there with the eggs until they hatch, and then the chicks once they're a little bit bigger, the female breaks out, reseals the hole, and then she and the male carry on feeding them. And while she's sealed in there, the male keeps bringing her food. So they're not going to be breeding yet, because in order to seal themselves in, they need mud to seal up the hole. And mud's obviously only around when there's water, and there's not a lot of rain around at the moment, but that's coming in the next few weeks or month or so. So I think this is just a sort of prelude to the real courtship, but yeah, lovely to see. Okay, well, we were way down in the southeast looking at hornbills. Pete and Guy have come across tracks of a pride in the central areas, so we're coming up to join them. Most likely it's in Cebu Pride, or at least a portion of them. So let's see if we can find them. I'm guessing if we do, it won't be the full pride, but we'll know when we get them. So now the tracking effort slows quite a bit. We've come to where the last tracks were. Checked a bit up ahead to the closest water hole. Nothing there. Looks like the pride split up to hunt. So there was a spot further back here where they were all together, and up ahead only one or two tracks. So we're just trying to establish where the bulk of the pride split. And now it starts to get fairly warm, so most likely the lions are in the shade somewhere. Just up ahead of us is the Mushaben riverbed. It's a beautiful sandy spot for the lions to lie down, spend the day if they want. It's going to be nice and shady, riparian vegetation, soft stones to lie on, and we're fairly confident they'll be somewhere close. So this over here is a fairly big track, might be hard to see, but that means almost certainly it's a male. So at least one of the Birmingham males is with them.
There's another one, there's another one. There's another one. Oh, look, you can see its tail. That dead log. Oh, stamped up. Don't wait.
There that goes.
What?
Should we jump in the vehicle and quickly loop around to Mushaben there?
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the vehicle, we've come up to one of the females, or one of the leopards. It's the Three Rivers female, and she's drooling heavily. She's got saliva dripping down from her jowls, and this is generally an indication that the other leopard is of the same sex. So leopards don't compete for territory between the sexes, it's only the same sex. The first leopard we saw slink off did look quite small. So our first thought was it might be a mating pair, but then when we saw this one we realized she was also quite small. So two females, given the area. What we think is the second one's probably the Mashaba female. They've both been mating with the Senegal bushmale in recent months. Oh, she's yawning now, the Three Rivers female. She's probably going to move soon. Okay, so we've left the Three Rivers female. She's just sniffing around back there. We're continuing upstream. We're going. Okay, guys, just got tracks of the lions in the riverbed now. This was our original plan when we got diverted. We think the other female, or the other leopard that ran, is somewhere in here. The squirrel's alarming, so we might get a glimpse of her if we're lucky. But we're going back to plan A, which was the Pride.
Tracks go off. There's more. You can see it in there.
So what have you got?
I think it's a monitor. You can
Unbelievable
see
spot.
the stripes on the tail, but if you have a look, it's right inside there and you can almost see it.
That's an unbelievable spot by Guy. Spotted the tip of the tail of a monitor lizard, just the tip, sticking out of a hole. And it's a hard. I mean, we'll put up a photo of what a monitor lizard looks like, because we cannot see a thing. Just see a slight edge to the crack. You know, so we can just see his beady eye staring out at us. But you know, he's got a nice sheltered spot. We're going to carry on looking for the lions.
There's a very clear path that these lions are following, and just covering the path there's a branch hanging down. So we had a closer look, and one of the lions has brushed their back up against the branch, and you can see a lion's hair got caught on a little piece of bark sticking out. So other than the tracks, it's just another little piece of evidence that one can follow when tracking.
So the last tracks we had were coming straight towards this water hole. So now we just check the water's edge to see if there's a spot where the lions came to drink. And there is a track. Yeah. Hard to see, the mud's quite hard and hard and dry, but yeah, one step there. Yeah, so they walked across. I think they might have been disappointed by what they found here in the way of water.
That is such a loss.
Come, brothers, give it another go. Okay, working out where they went from the water hole's taken us a bit of time, because it's basically like concrete next to the water, dried mud. But Pete's got some tracks heading this way, so back on the trail. Open areas like this can actually be a little bit harder to track in, because the pride will tend to split up, or spread out at least. So there'll be one line of tracks here, one will be over there. So instead of following a whole group of lions clumped together, which is practically like a furrow down the trail, I'm on one set of tracks, Guy's on another, and Pete's on another. So if I lose the trail, Pete, if he's still on tracks, we jump there and we just kind of switch back and forth. And each new track we find, even though it's late in the day, gives us a bit of extra energy. So we're going to commit to this till we either find them or they cross out of Londolozi. They were hunting here though, they've split up in this big open area, so just waiting for Guy and Pete to catch up, and then we'll continue. Right, well that's it. After 4.5 hours, we trailed the lions right to the edge of Londolozi where they crossed out. But that was super fun. Leopards on foot, a couple of hours on foot with your mates in the bush, following lions. Can't get much better.